All right, well, day 1 of 3 for warm-ups. Again, all 3 days of these are test inspired. I took the test and I just deleted numbers and changed numbers, erased a few of the problems. If problems are covered on the review, then I may not have put them on warm-ups. If they're not covered on the review, then they're in warm-ups. So between warm-ups and the review, you got a really, really, really good review for the test. So if you're watching on video right now, I'd hit pause and try to work these out, and then come back and then watch me work them out. All right, so number 1, that's pretty easy, but we got to make sure we can distribute. I guess that's really the only issue with number 1. 4 minus 3i minus 9 plus 2i, and then collect like terms. So 4 minus 9 would be negative 5. Negative 3i plus 2i is minus I. %, on that one, I hope. Easy one to get us rolling. Number 2, not too hard, but we got to remember what to do to fix the denominator. Multiply by the conjugate. So we change that middle sign. So we'll multiply top and bottom by 3 plus 2i. Whoops, change the middle sign. So 3 plus 2i, top and bottom. Top's not too bad. All I have to do is distribute the 4. Bottom is a little bit uglier. I'll have to FOIL. But you remember that when you FOIL with a conjugate, magical things happen, like every single time. That's why we multiply by the conjugate. So first, 3 times 3 is 9. Outside and inside, I'm not writing them down anymore. Like, I know what's going to happen when I multiply by a conjugate every time. The outside and inside cancel each other out. If you need to write it down and see that they cancel, you certainly may, but you don't have to. And then last, negative 2i times positive 2i. So that would be negative 4i squared. But right away we think, oh yeah, wait a minute, I squared is negative 1. So let's make that plus 4. So 12 plus 8i over 13. And at this point we look to see if it will reduce. So if 13 would reduce with both of those things, we could, but since it doesn't, that's as far as we can go with this one. Questions on that one? So again, the main thing is multiplying top and bottom by the conjugate. Number 3, use synthetic division to divide. So 2. I almost messed this up making the key earlier. We're missing an x squared term, so don't forget to include a placeholder 0 to account for the 0 x squared that's there. And then if we're dividing by x plus 3, right, you can think the difference between factors and zeros or factors and roots. So if x plus 3 is a factor, then x equals negative 3 is the potential root, I guess, because we don't know if this is a factor or not. So we'll divide with negative 3. Bring down the 2. Multiply. Add. Multiply. Add. Multiply. Add. So that's negative 37. Did you get the same thing I got? Okay, good. Okay, we're not done yet because our answer is not 2, negative 6, 15, negative 37. Our answer is, well, that last thing is the remainder. Or you can start at the front end and say, we did have x cubed. If we divided by x, we'd be down to x squared. So 2x squared minus 6x plus 15 with the remainder of negative 37. So again, make sure you sort of finish the answer. Don't just leave numbers down there. That would be unfortunate, especially if you did it all right, but then didn't write the answer we're looking for. Side note, if the remainder isn't 0, that means Therefore, x plus 3 is not a factor. It didn't ask that, but it could have asked it that way, and you would have done the same thing. So there's quite a few problems in this set where we can ask it a variety of ways, and you still end up doing the same thing. So synthetic division is one of those things that's useful several ways. You can just plain divide. You can ask about factors and roots and solutions and that sort of stuff. So make sure you answer the right question, even if you know it's a synthetic division problem. Number 4, factor completely. Let's see, that's a cube and that's a cube. So 5x minus 2 to get us started. And you just have to remember the pattern for cubes. There's no like magic to it. There's no figuring it out. For the cube problems, you just have to remember what the pattern is. SOAP helps a little bit because that tells you what the signs are. Same sign, opposite sign, always positive sign. And that's all SOAP is good for. So it's helpful, but it's not, it's not ultimate. It doesn't tell you everything. Square the first term. So what do we get when we square 5x? Good. 25. What else? 25x squared. And most people will forget to square the 5. They'll put 5x squared there. So they'll square the x, but not the 5. You got them both. 25x squared. Multiply the 2 together. So 5x times 2 is 10x. And sometimes people get worried about the sign there because, it's negative times. SOAP takes care of the sign. So don't worry about, is that a negative 2 or just the 2? Let SOAP fix the signs. And then the last one is square the last term. So we square 2, we get 4. And that's our answer. This second term back here, it always looks like, that's maybe something we could factor, but it won't ever factor. So you don't have to sit and try to think, how would I factor that further? Because it won't. It won't, period. So factoring sum and difference of cubes, definitely on there. Number 5, factoring with 4 terms. And so then it's grouping, and then it's just a matter of which grouping should I do? Because some on the worksheet, we grouped the second 3, and some on the worksheet, we grouped the first 3, and some on the worksheet, we grouped 2 and 2. And you just have to be able to figure out, which way is the best way to go. Probably the first attempt should be 2 and 2, because that's how most of them work. Unless you can tell that 3 of them make a perfect square, the front 3 or the back 3, then group them 2 and 2. So we factor out an x squared, that leaves 2x plus 3. Again, we're hoping the leftovers are the same. Factor out a negative 4. That leaves 2x plus 3. Feeling very good about my answer right now because I got 2x plus 3 left over for both of them. So that's, the midway check that we're doing this problem right. So I can factor out the whole 2x plus 3 thing. That leaves x squared minus 4. But we're not done with this one. So you gotta pay attention on these factoring ones. Make sure you factor everything you can factor. X squared minus 4 is x plus 2, x minus 2. Okay, so we're a third of the way through with the review warm-ups. We'll do another set tomorrow, and we'll do another set on Friday. Let me tell you now, just to get it on the video, the review that I'm about to hand you, you can omit numbers 5, 6, and 13. I need to post that in some other places for the online people to get it. So I'm going to give you the review, or it's posted online. Omit 5, 6, and 13. We didn't do those, so you don't have to worry about those. All right, so good luck with that. And tune in tomorrow for tomorrow's warm-up / test review.